Welcome back, everyone. We are working on our Windchill calculator, and I believe this is our last video because we are ready to write the method that will calculate the wind chill. And so when we click Get Wind Chill, it will either tell us there's a problem with our inputs, or it's going to calculate wind chill and display that on the screen below. We're going to put it into the model class, the formula to do it. And we've got all of our form validation methods. With these, I should be able to write the method right here. But I want to show you my pseudocode for that. And this is basically how we're going to do this. We're going to start by setting the results to results, just like we did in main activity, only now we're going to do it in this function. We're going to check to see, we want to make sure that both wind and temperature are valid. So if they're both valid, and we're going to just call those valid functions, is wind valid, is temp valid. If both of those return a true, then we're going to do what's in here. If either of those return a false, that goes to the else block, in which case we're going to just tell the results that there was a problem with the inputs. Okay. Now, if they're both valid, so we are within range, they're not empty, we were able to convert them to integers, we're going to get the value of wind, we're going to get the value of temperature, and we're going to set a variable called wind chill. And here is the whole formula on the website where I got the original formula, plus it has a chart, so we'll be able to compare it. And that's quite a big formula. Okay, so this will take up some lines of code just to get it all calculated. We may need to deal with parentheses, order of operations. I'm not entirely sure. We're going to code it as we see it here, making any modifications we can, and we'll test it. If it's wrong, then it may have to do with parentheses, and we'll try to fix that. Then we're going to set results to the following message. With the temperature of whatever and whatever, it feels like however many degrees. And we're just going to display it. And after we've done that, either one of these is going to be true. They're either valid or they're not. If they're valid, we're going to calculate it. If not, we're just going to say there's an error. We're just going to return the results. We are going to leave these functions, the validate wind and validate temp, to basically indicate, any warnings and pop it up like we have already done. So let's go ahead and do that now in our code. Okay, you can see all the validation methods. Is empty, is in range, is wind valid, is temp valid. And now we're going to create another public static method. This one returns a string. And that's going to be results. And we're going to call it just calculate wind chill. I think wind chill is two separate words. I'm going to code it like that. Just know that. And then we're going to need two fields for this to work. So we're going to do an edit text of, we could call it edit wind. And then on the next line, I'm just going to go ahead and do an edit text, edit temp, like so. Okay. I only went to the next line just because, we tend to run out of lines. We don't want to make them too long. If it helps, I'll go ahead and backtrack that way. And we'll just move this over. Okay. So we get two pieces of information. One of the things is you'll notice this is red underlined. Don't panic. Wait till you're done coding the whole thing, and then we'll see if it's still there. So we're going to set results to results. That's a string. Like so. Let's just go ahead and return the results. And now that little red underline goes away because we are returning a string, which is what we said we would do. So we set results. We're going to get wind. Wind is going to be in the form of an integer. Int wind equals. And this is what we did. Remember how we did the is empty, is in range, that kind of a thing. So we're going to do the integer dot parse int And we're going to take that edit wind dot get text dot toString. Fortunately, I've been coding recently, so it usually pops up the most recent ones you've got. We need to do the same thing for temp. It's really not that hard, is it? %, once you get the idea, right? Edit temp dot get text dot toString, like so. Code completion is your friend. Okay. We now are going to set Windchill. And we've got some floating point numbers, so we're going to make it a double. Actually, we got a couple options here. Okay. We can make it a double, we can make it an int. If you think about temperature, we usually don't think in terms of doubles. Okay, double being a double precision floating point, which would be, you know, something with a decimal point. So I'm thinking we're going to make it an int. And we'll call it Windchill equals, and I'm going to start like this for just a second, just so you see integer, whole number. Now, if we're going to do a bunch of math operations, and let's go back to the formula. We're going to use this formula right here. We need to basically use a bunch of double precision floating points. And so that is going to end up being an answer that is not a whole number. But we need to convert it to a whole number. But you only want to convert it to a whole number after you've calculated, because the formula requires these very precise numbers. So in order to deal with that, we're going to do what's called typecasting. We're going to cast whatever information we have into an integer. Okay? And that's how you do it. Next, remember what I showed you? It's going to be this formula. Now I'm just going to copy that and put it in a comment. Okay? And I'll just put formula like so. So now we take the int, and then we do our calculation. 35.74 plus 0.6215 times temp. See, you already have temp there. Aren't we glad we did that? Minus 35.75. I just want to know who figured this whole thing out. Times wind. Now, okay, hold on. Let me go back a step here. We're taking wind to the 0.16 power. So for that, and you notice those are all in parentheses. Well, guess what we can do? Math.pow. All right, and then we put wind, comma, 0.16. Okay, plus, and we've already run out of room. This is one big beefy formula, wouldn't you say? 0.4275 times temp times math.pow. I hope this works. Uh-oh. Doesn't like it. What doesn't it like? All right, I figured out what it is. We can't cast this to an int. Oh, wait, we might be able to. Let me just try one more thing. Or we do have to do it this way. Int, like so. There. Okay, so we got two ways that we can do it. One way is to cast this whole formula as an int. And the way I did that, I needed to put all of the formula inside of parentheses so that it would calculate it all. Otherwise, I think it was just converting this 35.74 to an int and everything else was a double, and then it didn't like it. Let's just see if we can get this to work. Now, before we do this, you might want to pause the video. And then from pausing it, you might want to just go ahead and code that out. And then we're going to test it. Or you might want to wait till after I tested it, make sure it works. All right, in order to test this, guess what? I don't need any of that. Bam! All right, not only that, I don't even have to set results to there. Here's why. Remember, the model calculate wind chill, that one's going to return our full results. So this is how we get our results. We pass it. Wait a minute. Really important here, we need to make sure we do it in the right order it shows us. We need to do wind, then temp. If you don't do it, wind, and then temp, we're in trouble. Now, if we did all of this right, that's all of the code we need to, on the on-click on our main activity, our controller. All our controller has to do is grab the results, calculate wind chill by sending it our two edit text fields, and then setting the results here. So let's test it, and we'll see if it works. In order to test it, we need the wind chill chart. We need a wind chill calculator. Let's try a calm temperature of 40 or 0, 40, and a wind speed of 5, and it should return 36. Oh, wait a minute. We haven't done the results. I did this on my other video. Can't believe that. All right. Before we can get our results, we just returned it in here, right? Oh my goodness, we are missing so much.
You're doing well.
All right. This is why pseudocode can be very handy. You see what we forgot to do? We forgot this. We forgot this. We forgot this. But we didn't remember that part. So we need all of this. All right, basically. Okay. Let me go back. After string results. I'm just a little too excited to be done with this. Okay. That's more like what we're trying to do here. Okay. Now that we have all of that here, and we already tried to grab it, let's see if we can get it to work now. Let's try this again. 40 and 5, get wind chill. Temperature 40, feels like 36 degrees. Hey, look at that. Look at that. All right, we need a comma and a space after the wind speed. Notice wind speed is a floating point. So, comma, space. Let's go ahead and cast that as an int and run it again. And this time we'll test with another value. All right, let's plug in. Let's try to get an error. Hey, there's a problem with your inputs. Look, we got a little mark here. You must enter a number. Click here. Let's try 330 degrees. There's an error here between, okay. So let's just go ahead. Let's give a value, a temperature of 0. And a wind speed of 30 should give us negative 26. Temperature of 0 and a wind speed of 30, it feels like negative 25. Ooh. I think I know what I need to do. First of all, wind chill, let's make it not an integer. Let's make it a double precision floating point, which means we can get rid of this and that. When we calculate it, it should give us a precise number. And so instead of showing us the precise number, we're going to use right in here where it says wind chill, math.round wind chill. And then that should round the number to the nearest whole number. Let's test it out. Okay, now that I did the math.round where I displayed the information, let's try it one more time. Temperature of 0. Wind speed of 30. Should give us negative 26. And now it does negative 26 degrees. Okay, so now we're getting the right number. We should probably go ahead and test a couple other values. Let's try 0 and 60. According to the chart you see on here, it should be negative 33. Let's go do a temperature of negative 45, but a calm of 5. That should give us negative 63. Yes, it did. And you get the idea. Okay. After checking that, you might want to check to see that you have all your errors working. There's a problem with your inputs. Let's try a wind speed. It's just too great. Also, same thing here. Let's try it with our temperature. There, it gave us an error. Let's try it blank. Awesome. All right, so it looks like our Windchill calculator is pretty much good to go. All right, that took a while. So let me just, if you want to see the Calculate Windchill and its final product, here it is. So you can pause your video now. And then if you want to see how we call that in our main activity, we'll just go over here. Main activity, all it is string results equals model.calculateWindchill. We pass it its two values. Go ahead and do that here. And then we just set the text results to what we capture through running that function, which is results. Okay, pretty straightforward. There you have your code. And if you go back to the model, now we can see all of our methods in the model. We've got 4 validation methods and 1 calculate method. And I think we're good to go. So happy coding, one and all.